Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of Think Outside Yourself. I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends and family. This week, I have a very exciting guest, my friend Andrew Carber. Andrew, how you doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thank you for having me on here today.
I'm glad you're here, man. Now, Andrew's career path is so diverse, and I have to give you guys a little rundown before we get into this because it's so awesome. So, Andrew, going into college, he was a great golfer, also very impressive to the point where he's 6'9", and he's playing golf at Clemson. So, kudos to you, man. That's awesome. And Andrew's told me many times that when he was at Clemson, he wanted to use that athleticism, that tallness for something in a different sport that he found. And so he went back to baseball. He went to JUCO to play baseball at Hartford and Chipola. He was drafted by the Red Sox, much like myself. That's how he became acquainted. So thank you for the Red Sox for that. Then he, after his baseball career was cut short, he then pursued basketball a little bit, which led him down another rabbit hole where he became an actor. Now, he's going to explain that whole story, but I'm excited to get into it. And your most recent piece from acting is from the shirt you're wearing as well as fantasy football. So if you wouldn't mind hopping right into it, give us a little rundown on what fantasy football is about, your role in it, and let's hear about it.
Yeah, man. So first of all, thank you for giving the rundown for me. Usually I have to jump through all the rabbit holes myself, so you made it a lot easier for me, which is very much appreciated. But yeah, it's been a hell of a journey as you just kind of listened to. Basically, started with the golf avenue, and then obviously I got into baseball, and then during the pandemic getting released from my current team at the time up in Detroit, just got into basketball, and then obviously transitioned in a wild fashion, just got chased down a hallway for hustle, and then that led me to this fantasy football thing. So so the latest and greatest is fantasy football. It's now streaming on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. So it's a great kids movie, family movie. Has nothing to do with your fantasy football or anything of that nature, which I was sad about because we're getting close to playoff time and I have my own fantasy roster. Unfortunately, you're not going to get any insights on that. But yeah, it's a great movie. Paramount Plus streaming now. Amari Hardwick, Kelly Rowland, Tony Gonzalez from the Atlanta Falcons.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Marcy Martin from Blackish. So it's got a great cast, and go check it out. You guys got to.
Yeah. So what was your role in fantasy football? I know that you had the pads on and all that stuff. Obviously, being a player. So what was that like? What was your day-to-day life?
Yeah. So when I first got asked to do fantasy football, it was right before Hustle was released. So I still was very much off the radar, if you will.
Okay.
So no one knew I was a stunt performer at the time or doing any acting at the time. So when I was asked, it was literally just to look the part of an NFL tight end, quarterback, wide receiver, and just, like I said, create that reality of running out of Mercedes-Benz in the tunnel and running.
Look like you know what you're doing.
Exactly. So, one of the scenes in the movie, you'll see me behind Amari running out of the tunnel together, and we did that for an hour and a half, and we ran a bunch of plays on the field. I mean, literally we spent 7 days in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, which state-of-the-art facility, brand new, literally 2 years, I think. Not every day you get to play football for 12 hours a day and just run back and forth, new plays and new NFL uniforms. I mean, we were lining up as Falcons. Next day we were Panthers, Saints. So it was a blast. And like I said, it's going to be a good movie. But basically the way I got into it was on which we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a little bit. But Hustle, Adam Sandler, like I said, he runs a great cast and a great set, and the people that I was connected with from that film had got me on there, and Spring Hill Entertainment. So, yeah, it was fun.
So it's kind of funny. You've been in 2 movies and you haven't had to do any auditions, have you?
No. So the
Yeah.
do with auditions was for Hustle. So when I got picked up for Hustle, like I can give you the whole story in a minute, but after I was chased down that hallway, I basically just had to kind of like send in a package of things that showed I can really dunk and do these tricks, shoot, because that was a big part of the equation as well. And then once I sent those videos in, that was kind of like the closest thing I had to an audition.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So to give a little context to the people listening, Hustle is a movie directed and acted upon by Adam Sandler. For those of you that don't know, it's on Netflix. It's about basically a foreign basketball player who makes his way into the NBA. And Andrew was that main character's stunt double, which is awesome to hear. And like we talked about a little earlier, please give us like the full rundown, the full story of how that came about, because it's just awesome.
Yeah, yes. So absolutely insane story. I basically, as we talked about, I was with the Red Sox before. I was playing minor league baseball, and then COVID hit, and basically there were a ton of free agents out there. As you know, people are getting released from teams left and right. You've got last year's draft class. They've only played like a month of baseball, and they're trying to
like a half a year.
And then you have the new draft class coming in. So it's like, as a free agent in baseball, and at the time I was like 24, it was a tough road ahead if I had continued on that path. So basically I was training at the Sixers G League facility for baseball, and it was deemed like a essential business during COVID. And basically every morning I'd go in to train with the major league guys, minor league guys, NFL players. We had NBA guys in there. Everyone who was like a pro athlete, an essential worker, would go and work out at this complex. And Titan Sports Academy is there, who was training us. And basically, when I had been released during COVID, I went and started playing pickup games with the G League guys in the Sixers field house, and basically like had some really good pickup games. And these guys were just like, hey man, if you want to train with us, we're here 7 to 9 a.m. every morning. Don't know what your plans are for baseball, but you could definitely, play professionally as a basketball player overseas, or who knows, you could take it to who knows what heights. So was training for that, and that was the original plan. I was going to go play in either Sweden. I had offers from Japan. And then one morning, I was playing in a charity golf outing the weekend before and got a late start. I just rolled into the gym right after the G League guys had ended their session at 9 a.m. and I was just going to get some shots up privately and work out. And this guy chases me down a hallway. I peek into the gym, and there's like the Sixers youth camp all over the place, and there's like kids everywhere. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not going to shoot this morning. And so I kind of go back down the hallway, and as I'm halfway down the hallway, this guy from the youth camp chases me down. He goes, yo man, like, you mind if I ask you a question? And he introduces himself, and he's the Sixers G League front office guy. His name's Coach Joe. And so I'm thinking in my head, like, oh, I'm going to get a workout with the Sixers G League team. Maybe I play with the G League next year. That would be sweet. And first line out of his mouth, he goes, do you want to be in a movie with Adam Sandler, Netflix, produced by LeBron James? And he's like, Queen Latifah. And I didn't even really know what to say at the point. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to hear more about it. And I'm thinking I'd just be like an extra or something. And he just keeps on going. He's like, yeah, man, we've got like 95 guys trying out for the part. But he's like, we really only have like 9 guys that really qualify for what we're looking for. And he showed me this little like pamphlet of qualifications, and it said like 6'9", white, highly skilled basketball player. And that was like that was like pretty much.
Yeah, you're like, check, check, check.
And I just looked at him. I said, God writes crazy stories. And he's like, yes, he does. And he takes my picture and he's like, I'm going to send this up the chain. Sends it up the chain. And the next day, I was on the phone with the Netflix coordinator. And they basically gave me the job. So
That's awesome, dude. That's so cool. Now, going into it, I know that a movie production takes a long time. And it's probably like there are joys to it, but also stresses. So would you mind talking about that a little bit? Some of the things that you really appreciated about filming a movie, but also the things that like kind of were annoying, I guess?
Yeah. So my favorite thing, as you can see, I've kind of tried everything in my short 27 years now of life. My favorite thing about kind of like what I do is just like the perspectives I gain from everything. So, yeah, like it was super cool. I mean, as you know, like it was super cool being with the Red Sox and getting to see what Chris Sale does, and super cool being with, I mean, on a movie set and seeing how Adam Sandler kind of lives his life. But, dude, the biggest thing I can take away from the whole experience is movie stars, or whatever you want to call them, they grind. A movie is, we tend to kind of put a lot of glamour behind a movie star and like TV show actor and whatnot. And if you go on one of these sets, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a TV show, a movie, whatever it is, it's a grind. Like you're there for 12 hours, 14 hours a day sometimes. And then just when you go home at night, like, okay, like that was a tough day. You wake up and do it the next day, and then you do it the next day. And it's like, so they earn, like, I gained so much respect. I already respected everyone on set, incredible amounts. I mean, you're walking around with some incredibly successful and talented people on set every day, especially the set that Adam and his team at Happy Madison had put together. But yeah, like the whole notion that being a movie star is easy and like you don't have to do anything and you're just a millionaire, like it's the furthest thing from the truth. And it doesn't mean we don't have fun. I mean, we have a blast when we're on set. When we were out there for Hustle, we're out there shooting hoops with Trae Young and Aaron Gordon, Jordan Clarkson, Boban, Juancho. I mean, you name it. There was a new guy on set every day. Pete Davidson shooting hoops with. He's not even in the movie. He's just.
That's awesome.
And like it's there's some really fun times, but it's still a grind, just like anything else. Like there's nothing worthwhile in this life is easy, and that's the biggest thing I took away.
That's awesome, dude. I'm glad you said that too, because that's one of the biggest reasons I started this podcast. Like the idea of like thinking outside yourself is that we all have like our lives that we pay attention to so much, like because we have to. But sometimes with our lives, especially when we get so in depth into our professions, that we kind of forget what other people have to go through as well. Like if you didn't tell me that, I would never know what it's like going 12 hours a day as an actor. And a lot of them probably don't know what it's like for us when you play baseball, how I play baseball. Like they don't know the grind that we have to go through. And I think that's so important because everybody has their own path, but we all go through certain grinds through those paths. And I think that it's just so important for us to share that with each other, so we're able to kind of give each other some empathy. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. So tell me, like you mentioned that you were like playing hoops, meeting a lot of famous people. Out of all the celebrities you met, who did you enjoy spending your time with the most?
Yeah. Now you got to be careful saying that word. You just said the C word. You just celebrity word, and
they don't like that.
I first like they hate that. At least the people I'm with, like, or I was with, like Adam, Juancho. I mean, you like Queen, like they're just regular people. And like I remember the first day meeting Adam. I was in Spain, and obviously, like I had watched all his movies growing up, and he's
Mhm.
my favorite actor as a kid.
Yeah.
Watching Happy Gilmore, obviously I was a golfer. The Longest Yard, you got Big Daddy. I mean, he's got countless different like
So many good movies,
incredible
man.
features. But of all I call them highly talented and highly successful people that I was around. I mean, naturally, like Juancho, 100% was who I was closest with, and just being, we both weren't really supposed to be on a movie set. Neither of us had really dreamed of being on a movie set in our lifetimes. So we kind of bonded over that. Just, I mean, you never know kind of moment in life.
Yeah, we're kind of like you're newly into this,
Yeah,
like kind of like the newborn life into filmmaking.
exactly. Like I had just shared how I got into the film hustle, and Juancho, he literally was with his brother Willie, who I also was fortunate to get to spend time with. He plays for the New Orleans Pelicans, their
Okay.
center. Great guy, Juancho's older brother, but met him in Spain, and he like literally Juancho. The only reason he was or how we got into the movie was during COVID. They were super bored during quarantine, and they were just like, "Hey, let's take that movie script that my agent sent me, and let's just like film ourselves and see what happens." And Juancho said it was terrible. He said like the whole like filming of them, they were reading the script. He said it was terrible. I don't believe it because he did an unbelievable job.
Oh, I didn't like the first time. I mean, I'm not crazy into basketball, but like, I do know like a lot of the players. But like, dude, watching him, I didn't even know the first time watching the movie. The only reason I knew he was a basketball player was because of like the name. Like, if I had never heard the name before, I would have thought he was just an
Yep.
actor. It was crazy how well he did.
Absolutely, but definitely bonded the most with Juancho, and then obviously just being twins with the guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Weird enough, happenstance moment, just finding a twin brother in Spain, and then also, I mean, I got to know Jaleel White pretty well as well when I was on set. Who's Steve Urkel, and we went out and got dinner in Philadelphia one of the nights.
that's
At
awesome.
Zahav, which I had never heard of before. But food was great. Food was amazing. And he was in town for like a Chappelle show. And I just remember I was like in my kitchen and just got a text from, I mean, we used to play pickup basketball
Yeah,
nights on set. So it was Lob City. Me and Jaleel White were one of the nights. And yeah, we just kind of connected there as well. And like I said, he was in town for a Chappelle show and grabbed dinner there. So yeah, I mean, you just never knew who was going to walk through those doors every day on set. Everyone that did come through those doors, I would say 99% of those people were great people, like just unreal. And the 1%, I mean, weren't there for more than, I mean, an hour or so or whatever. Yeah, it's just like everyone was a family on that set, and
that's awesome, bro. It's always such like whenever you're doing something like big, it's so important to have camaraderie throughout it. And I'm glad that you did say that about like the celebrity word because I say the same thing to people. Like kids will come up to me and be like, "What's Chris Sale like? What's Xander Bogarts like?" I'm like, "They're just people, dude. They're just normal
yep,
people."
exactly.
But I do have to ask you this. So, just like seeing him over social media and stuff like that and in person, it just seems like a hysterical dude. What is Anthony Edwards like in person? Because that he did a great job in the movie too. I thought he was exceptional.
Ant is like a walking comedy show.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to spend time with Ant. Obviously, being Juancho's stunt double and regular double and all that. So I was able to, I mean, a lot of what Juancho did, I had to do as well. So Ant's one of the main characters in the movie. I mean, he's the antagonist
Yeah.
of the movie. So I got to spend a few weeks, almost a month on set with Ant. And Ant is as authentic as it comes. He's from Atlanta. There's no BS about him. He just wants to live his life and just be true to who he is. And he loves basketball. And he's a great kid, extremely athletic.
Ridiculous, bro.
And one of the mornings, I got to sit up in the bleachers with him and have coffee, and I had to do a dunk scene, and he had to be in the background running, kind of past us, and it was like 7:30 in the morning, and they're setting up the shot, and I just sat in the bleachers with him for about 30 minutes, and we were talking about life, and kind of had like a heart to heart. When you crack Ant's shell, he can be a really awesome guy. Not that he's a bad guy.
Yeah. It's just everybody has a little bit of security.
Yeah, and as he should, because he's a first-round draft pick in the NBA, and he's got all the talent in the world and a bright future ahead. So you kind of have to have that guard up. But no, Ant was – I just remember sitting in the bleachers with him, and I asked him because I was kind of having a heart-to-heart with him on my own life, and I was just like, do you love basketball? And he goes, I love it. It like – stone cold, like looked me dead in the eye and said, I love basketball. And I said, really? And he's like, bro, I love it. He said, some people in the league, he's like, they don't love basketball. He's like, they're just there for the lifestyle. They're there for the paycheck. But he's like, I love it. He's like, I know exactly how good I can be. And he's like, I feel like I'm not even close. Like, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of how great I can be. And he's like, I love waking up every morning knowing that I can be one of the best to ever do it. And I have chills right now. Conversation clear as day. And I believe him too, because the conviction alone of how he said it, it was like, I could be really looking this man in the eyes right now. And I see 20 years down the line, I could see some NBA championships in him. I could see an MVP in this guy. And Ant was super special. And he really, like, he's all basketball, all business. And any franchise would be lucky to have Ant in there.
You love to see some of those athletes that, like, they have this, like, confident swagger to them, but they also feel like they don't need to prove themselves to anybody else. Like, they know that they have, like, what it takes. Like, perfect example, Jalen Hurts, dude. Jalen Hurts last year, like, obviously people were writing him off and stuff like that. And, like people didn't believe in him as much as they do now. But he just kept quiet, kept doing his thing, kept leading the team. And, dude, I like that. That's what I love that shit. I love that shit with athletes.
Dude. And you don't really, to be honest with you, having been through the environments, and I mean, you've been in environments yourself with the Red Sox and everything. Like you've seen it. To be honest with you don't see that passion for the game, whether it's baseball, basketball, football. Like, there's a lot of guys that don't love.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I totally get it, and that's why I make this claim a lot, and granted, the talent level is so much different, but I honestly like watching college sports a lot more than professional sports. Now, granted, like, playoffs are a bit of a different story, but like a regular season baseball game, I'd rather watch a college baseball game than a professional baseball game. Same thing for football or basketball, just because you can tell, like, the importance of family is there. The love for the game is there, man. They're not playing for a check; they're playing to win, and that's the beauty of every sport, man.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's I truly believe one of the biggest things that I've picked up on throughout all my journey so far. It's just the beginning, but I've learned so much just in the 10 years of leaving home from high school and going out into the world, going through Clemson, Red Sox, couple movies I've done now. Yeah. And one of the biggest takeaways really is, if you don't love what you're doing, if you don't wake up every single morning thinking about how you're going to improve and get better at what you're doing at your craft, you're not going to last. Like, there's no paycheck that really is going, like, I promise you, like, you probably think, oh, well, I'll do it for 50 mil. If 50 mil is like the end result, or 100 or $1 million, whatever it is, I promise you that will not be big enough to get you to put in the work and that it requires to get to that level, because you don't have the passion, that burning desire to get there. And I saw it with literally every single elite performer that I've been around, whether it's been Chris Sale, JD Martinez, Adam Sandler, Queen Latifah, Mark Cuban, he was on set. Gary Player, when I caddied for Gary Player a couple years ago, and it was just that's literally the resounding theme in all of these high performers, is they're just so passionate at what they do in their craft. And it doesn't matter if it's golf, if it's, like I said, baseball, basketball, filmmaking, music, whatever it is. If you don't love what you're doing and have that burning passion for it, you're not going to be elite at it. You're like,
yeah, you're hitting it right on the nose there, man. I can, you're preaching to the choir, because I definitely have seen that as well. Like, there's a lot of guys that are just kind of chasing the bag. I know that, like, I remember my first, so I got drafted back in 2019, finished the year out with the Red Sox, and then we went to Instructs, which is like fall training for those who don't know. And so it's at the very end of the year. We're getting ready for off season. We're just kind of just working on some things to take into the off season. And we were running one day. And dude, I don't love running, but I love competing. Like, going at it with somebody, like, and stuff like that. So I would want to win every single time. Like every time we ran, I don't care how far the run is or how short it is. I want to beat everybody. And I caught a lot of heat for that. Like, guys were like calling me a try hard and stuff. And it was like, as soon as I'm entering pro ball, so I'm like, I'm that guy. Like, I'm that guy. But at the same time, like, that's part of what I've learned in, like, professional baseball, is like, not everybody loves this shit.
Yep.
So if you love it, embrace it. And if somebody doesn't like it, fuck you. And that's it.
I couldn't have said it better. It's and competing really is like such a, especially in sports, like such a backbone of what kind of gets us to do it. And that's like one thing I do miss from just from like baseball and sports in general. It's just like competing every day. But at the same time, like, that's why I still play golf, and I'm constantly, like, golf was my first love sports wise, as far as I wouldn't say first love, but it was like, now I could literally go to the range and hit golf balls and hit putts all day and play 36 holes. And that was the first time I was like, okay, I think this is like truly what I'm passionate about doing. One of those things. But competing is like, golf gives me kind of like that outlet to competing still.
So if you don't mind, take me through like your career in golf, like how you got invested in it and all that, and like going to Clemson and all that.
Yeah. So my first love, I should correct myself on the last statement. So my first love really was baseball. I always wanted to be a big leaguer, wanted to play for the Phillies. Grew up watching Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, all those guys.
Oh, that team was great, man.
But I played all sports. My parents never kind of shoved me into one avenue. They just let me do everything and play everything, which ultimately benefited me for everything I did. It made me coordinated in so many different ways. But I started playing chip and putt when I was in second grade with my dad, and didn't take golf really seriously until about high school. In the summer times in middle school, I would go out with one of my best friends, and we'd play like 18 holes. Our parents would drop us at the golf course in the summertime, and we'd play all summer. So that's kind of where we started getting a lot better. And then cool. And that's when I would say I understood how much competition kind of drives me. I hated seeing people beat me, and I was getting beat in every sport. Once you get to the varsity level as a freshman, I mean, you're just getting your ass handed to you every single day by the seniors and juniors. I mean, guys that are just naturally older and bigger than
Yeah.
you. So literally, like every time the seasons changed, I would make it my priority to whatever off season it was, get better at that, and then play whatever sport that I was playing at the time. And it was
Okay.
an interchanging circle. So by the time I got to like junior year, I got a lot better at golf. I went from shooting in the 80s to I was shooting even par. Then when I got to a senior, I was breaking par really, really consistently. I think it was my senior year, my strokes to par was like -1 through all the matches if you added all of them up. So I went under par for the season, and that was so like junior senior year was when I first got a lot better. And you never perfect golf. I'm addicted to kind of that chase, if you will. I don't think you ever fully figure golf out, but you feel like you're getting to that point. Like, okay, I'm starting to figure it out, and it's a constant chase. And one day I will go make another run at golf. But I kind of want to get the.
You got time with that sport.
Exactly. Phil Mickelson at 51. He's winning the PGA Championship, which is a major championship, and so there's no rush in golf. I'm kind of getting the athletic sports out of the way first, and then we'll see down the line what we do. So.
That's awesome. So tell me, like, I know you touched on it a bit just now, but like, what was the decision making that had you go when you were like playing golf at a D1 school, big school? What made you be like, hey, I want to go back to baseball now?
Yeah, so I still remember, like, I shot a 70 at some tournament at Clemson. And when I got out of high school, I didn't really have any big Division I offers. And at the time I was like, oh, well, if you don't have an offer from UNC or Duke in basketball or Texas or Alabama for football, like whatever it is, then you're just not going pro. So golf was like, I loved it, first of all, and I was really trending, just getting better day by day. And so I chose golf, and I went to try and play golf at Clemson. They didn't take walk-ons, so I was playing some club golf, but still shooting really good scores. And I just remember shooting a 70 at this like national championship event in Alabama. And this kid shot 67, and I was 6'8" at the time. I'm 6'9" now. And this kid was like 5'9" and shot 67. And I was just like, I will dunk on this kid in the rec center. I'll moss him in
any other sport, you're screwed.
Yeah, like any other sport, I will dominate this kid. But in golf, it didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter that I was, 30 yards further than him down the fairway off the tee. Like, all that matters is what number you write on the scorecard at the end of the round. Yeah, score was 3 strokes lower than mine was. So that's when I first kind of started thinking, like, okay, maybe I should go do something a little more athletic. And I remember my sophomore year, I stepped out, and instead of going to spring break, I canceled our spring break trip. And all my buddies were like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you going home for spring break? And I went out to dinner with my parents and just told them, I was like, hey, I want to get back into a sport. I think it's either baseball or basketball. And I loved both of them. And I figured I had more upside being a 6'9" pitcher than I did a 6'9" basketball player. And just went that direction. So,
yeah. That's awesome, dude. I think it's, I think I've told you this before, but I really admire how you don't need to have just one path. Mm-hmm. You have like multiple paths that you've like gone on and experienced, and that's just so much what like this age in our life is about. Like the 20s and like the late teens is just like learning, screwing up, learning from that, figuring out what you love, all that stuff.
Exactly. Just trying everything. Like, see what works. I mean, life really is, it's a, like, not to sound cliche, but it really is like a puzzle. And you just want to see what puzzle pieces fit best and where they're supposed to. And I really do believe that we all have like a higher purpose to serve on this this. And I think a lot of people kind of lose sight of that, and they just kind of fall into the day-to-day traps of just making money and paying the bills and then living for the weekend. And it's like,
there's so much like pressure behind like, okay, I got to go to college, then I got to find a job. And it's like, whoa, you got a lot of life to live. You don't have to just figure it all out like within 4 years and just be done when you're 22. Like, that's not it.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, go out. I remember when I was in 8th grade, Mike McGlinchey, who's the left tackle for the 49ers now, he went to my high school.
I used to play him in basketball at Penn Charter. The kid was a mammoth.
He's huge, dude. He came and talked to us when I was in 8th grade, and he said one of the things that I'll like support, because he was a football player, basketball player, and then he would go do shot put and track in the spring. He's like, dude, play as many sports as you can for as long as you can. And that inspired me. And then like I went out for football. I didn't have a very long football career, but like I at least like went out and tried it and played it and enjoyed it. I realized that I couldn't remember plays for shit, but that's different. But then I did swimming in high school, and swimming helped me get in like really good shape for baseball season. And like that's what I just preach to the kids that like I coach now, is just like, try things, go out. If you embarrass yourself, so what? No one's gonna remember it eventually. Like, exactly. Just go and do as much as you can.
Exactly.
100%.
Now more like it. I mean, I played everything under the sun, and I truly believe it helps you in any sport. Like, it doesn't matter if it's golf, baseball, basketball. They all have little intricacies that help each other in athletic movement. And like, I mean, you can see it with. I mean, you give LeBron James a golf club, or I've ever seen LeBron playing the celebrity softball events on TV.
No, dude, but I'm sure it's awesome.
I mean, dude, the guy is playing slow pitch softball, and I think LeBron is. I mean, Giannis is getting there too, but I think LeBron to date is probably the greatest athlete we've seen as far as like specimen goes. And if you put a baseball bat in that man's hand, he looks like he's learning Chinese. Like he whips through it. You can see it on YouTube. Like,
I remember seeing Giannis in like the batting cage trying to hit off the tee.
Yeah.
And it was just, and it's so funny because there's like to dive like a little deeper into this, but there's like a theory that some like baseball science guys have come up with, that if you don't like get used to the throwing motion, like of throwing a baseball by a certain age, then you'll never really fully be able to do it.
Yep.
And so it's so funny. I got one of my best friends, DB. He's played football his whole life, and seeing him throw a baseball, it's the funniest thing in the world. But no, I totally get what you're saying from that aspect. Now, this is something interesting that I want to ask you. So you played three sports in your life where failure is like a big factor in them. Like basketball, some of the best guys only shoot 50%. Baseball, the best players hit 300, and the pitchers. I mean, pitching is just like it's a whole mental like game in itself. And then, honestly, personally, I think golf is the hardest sport.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just a personal standpoint. But so playing those three sports, knowing that, like, there's a lot of failure in all those, what could you talk about, like, the failure that you've experienced and how it's helped you grow into who you are today?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, failure is like, as cliche as it sounds, like it's so essential to like the learning process and just figuring out what works and what doesn't. And every one of my failures throughout life has kind of pushed me into where I am now and what I'm doing now. And baseball wise, like going through failures mentally, like, and physically and whatnot, especially like with the Red Sox, like, just like I'm super proud of like kind of how I handle, like one of my biggest things that I'm kind of emulating nowadays is just finding the humor in everything. And I've really always kind of like abided by that. And I don't think it's any coincidence that I ended up on a set with Adam Sandler, who's a comedian first. Like people don't know, like everyone knows Adam for his movies, but when I got to know Adam, like we were sitting in like one of the tents in Spain, filming the Spain scene, and he was just telling us like his life story, and he was a comedian first. He was a stand-up comedian. So like when I would go through failures in baseball, and you can talk to any of my teammates, I always just like cracked jokes about myself. I would roast myself, and just kind of laugh it off, and like having that perspective of just like 99% of things that but usually don't matter, and then the 1%, like there may be 1% that really does, but like if you just ask yourself that every single day, like just kind of finding the humor in everything, it's so essential to like kind of getting by like the hardships. And you're just, I think Joe Rogan, he posted something on like his Instagram the other day. It was just talking about how like if you're an emotional person, like, and you're trying to handle conflict through emotion, it's going to be a rough road for you. But people that find the humor in the adversity are the ones who are like the strongest and are really built kind of differently for it. And you can look at his Instagram page. I don't know the exact quote, but yeah, like, dude, like failure, it's inevitable. And it's just like, I mean, I'm doing stuff that no one really probably understands, like what am I going to do next and whatnot. But I know I'm going to fail in whatever I choose next. But I mean, why not fail kind of epically at something? And
that's the beauty of it, is like, and sometimes you don't really need to know what you're going to do next. I think that's like the mystery of it is kind of, it's there's beauty in that in itself.
100%. So yeah, it's like, dude, like I said, like everything has happened for a reason. And in baseball, like the like really ironic thing is like I really figured everything out the COVID year, that off season. I was throwing to hitters and was throwing strikes, and was just like, man, I'm gonna make this year like my bitch, essentially. Like part of my French, but like that's just that killer mentality that you got to have. And I just remember getting the phone call, like they were canceling the season, they were doing some releases, and I was just like, okay, like what am I gonna do next? And I don't really want to stay in this holding pattern. And ultimately, like being released from the Red Sox and being released from that independent ball team and minor league baseball in general led me to the movie and the next movie and whatever I choose to do next. And like all the people and relationships that I met, along the way. So it's like, that was all meant to be. And had I not failed epically at something and put myself out there, I mean, it was like the Red Sox specifically was like such a cool chapter of my life, and I'm super grateful for it because like I said, I met some amazing people. I still keep in contact with you guys, and like some of our buddies are making debuts up in the big leagues now, and Tanner Halcomb, if he's listening, and Cutter Crawford. It's just like awesome to see these guys up there. And but yeah, like everything happens for a reason. Like there's a lot of cliches I feel like I'm saying, but it all works out, and you just have to keep moving forward and just don't stay in one spot. Just keep in motion.
I completely agree, and I don't think like I don't like when people like say like this may be cliche, because if it helps you, it helps you. It doesn't matter if it's cliche or not. Like there's failure in everything. Like you said, if you didn't fail, you wouldn't have had the doors open that you've gone through now. Like I think I think that's what's so important in life is like every failure does seem like a big deal in that moment. It does. And we all react to it differently. Like for me, when I fail, I usually get like frustrated or angry because I know that I could have done better.
Yep.
I'm not big with the humor thing. I more just get like I get on myself. I like to hold myself accountable. But it's just that it just shows just how individual each person is like what may work for you may not work for me, what may work for me may not work for you, but we're all human and we all go through the same emotions and stuff like that. We all go through the same shit,
100%.
you know.
And like at the time too, when I was with the Red Sox, it was like, I loved what I was doing. I loved pitching, loved baseball, and loved like I value those relationships that I made with the Red Sox more than anything. But like I said, like had it not been for like me failing and eventually getting released and whatnot, like I look back at it too, and what having just gone through and made new relationships and new places and finding my love for film and like I did an Under Armour commercial last year, helped direct that, sports coordinate it. That was playing during March Madness, and like as much as I loved baseball, like I wouldn't trade a year in the big leagues for what I just went through on that hustle set and fantasy football.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it just kind of speaks, like I said, like failure happens for a reason. And had I made the big leagues with the Red Sox, I would have missed out on meeting my twin brother from Spain and
Yeah, exactly.
getting to hang with Adam and getting to know him and his family and like spending time on set with his team. I mean, Adam runs an incredible set. I think I've told you this before, but he brings just like some incredibly high character people onto his sets. And like I said, he's also a comedian too. And he just like set the tone. Like it was just like a walking comedy show every day that we were on set for 3 months,
cool.
which like I said, it was a grind, like making movies a grind, but when your leader of the show is a comedian, it makes life a lot easier.
It's a lot easier, yeah.
And
A lot more enjoyable.
Basketball too every day. So it was like,
Oh,
so like I said, I wouldn't trade anything in any way that things kind of unfolded and to like it's been a heck of a ride and we're just getting started. So
that is one thing that like I don't feel like I'm missing out on because I'm so grateful for what I get to do now. But I do think about that a lot is like with baseball, it's like you have a schedule of like throughout the year of everything to do. Is like when you're done the season, you have some downtime, travel, do a vacation or something like that. But then it's like back to work, get ready for the next season. Then the next season comes and you go through that season. It's just kind of a cycle. And like as much as I love baseball, as much as I like want to do this for as long as I can, there's a little part of me that's like, I can't wait till I'm like done baseball and just like get to explore the world. Or just like my family lives in Norway, and I haven't been able to like go visit them or anything during like this time where we talk about where you can just like this age where you can go do what and see things that you've never seen before and make life experiences. So no, I do get that, and I really am so happy for you that you're able to have this journey and appreciate even the times that weren't so great.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's just I mean, you love the game too. Like you love baseball, and I told you that's like the most important ingredient is like the passion for it. But I think like the biggest thing, like one of my biggest advice to people too, like who listen and are kind of in like a bind, kind of trying to figure out like what their next move is. If like there's more outside of baseball or whatever sport you're playing, there's more to life out there, and you're going to find your way no matter what. I think one of my biggest fears and one of the pressures I put on myself as a pitcher, which like was part of like probably the root of some of my struggles when I was pitching, was just I was so afraid of life after baseball. It was like I felt like I was going to fall off a cliff the second
you never wanted it to
and
end.
that there was just going to be nothing after that. And I almost like made being a professional baseball player like my identity at the time, and not kind of trusting that like there's a greater plan and a higher being that's looking out for you. And probably the best thing that could have happened to me, like I said, was getting released and kind of taking those next steps forward. And now it just makes anything else I do now is just kind of like, okay, well, things are going to work out. I know it. It's just emotion. Things are going to work out no matter what happens. So there's
It's all so there's always a journey.
always
You'll always
after whatever, but it's like,
it was funny you said that because I like literally the next question I was going to ask you is what advice you'd have for like kids growing up and dreaming and doing the things that you've done.
yeah, like I think you really like my biggest advice now having been, I'm like probably 9 years removed from high school now. And I think the biggest thing I've learned, and if there's anything I would go back and tell my younger self is like, just figure out like what your ideal life looks like in 10, 20 years, 30 years. If you want to have kids, you want to get a good job, steady income, great. Like go to college, like go meet the love of your life, have a family, you'll be super happy no matter what. But if you're more of like a free soul and you kind of want to explore whatever it is, entertainment, sports, whatever your passions are, just go chase it. Like go do it, but don't waste like 2, 3, 4 years of your life just going to college because everyone else is. Don't follow the path. Just create your own lane and go meet people that I mean, one of the greatest parts of me going to Clemson, like I didn't really take anything from my degree necessarily. I was like a business major and whatnot, but I met some of the greatest friends and friendships that have the same mindset, mentality, and sense of humor that I do. And going and meeting like-minded people is the best thing you can do. Like when I go to movie sets, I meet like-minded people who have the same visions I have for commercial or skits or doing a TV show down the line, which is one thing. Like I'm writing stuff on the side, TV shows and movie ideas, skits, everything like that. That's something I never was kind of like introduced to in high school. I didn't know it was like possible. And so now I'm like around people that think the same way I do, and they have connections, or I have connections now through the movies that I've done, that we can make those visions like a reality. And we're kind of pushing the needle forward as far as like entertainment in future. Like we have like kind of, we're the next man up. It's like,
yeah, that's awesome, man. And like, it reminds me of this quote. Now I can't quote it perfectly, but basically it's like kind of what you said, like find what you want in life, but also accept that it may not turn out the way you want it. But that also doesn't mean that it'll be for the worse.
Yep.
Like sometimes it'll turn out better than you ever imagined.
100%.
But it doesn't mean that it's going to go exactly your
100%, 100%. But like I said, everything happens for a reason. And the biggest thing, like find your passion and what your ideal life looks like. Find a group of individuals who see the same thing, and then work together to make that vision a reality, and then just chase it as far as you can. I promise it'll work out. It's hard to see like the big picture when you're just getting out. The hardest part is getting started in anything. Like I stepped out of Clemson and was just a nobody playing baseball. The hardest part was finding a pitching coach to work with, and like finding an agent that will kind of look out for me in pro workouts. But once I jumped into it and took the leap of faith, like everything worked out. And then same thing with the movies and like entertainment stuff I'm doing now. It's like the hardest part is getting started, but once you get there and you kind of make connections and network, then it all kind of just unfolds as you go, and you can't really plan for it. It just happens. So.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, dude. When I first started my Letters by Lucci videos, posting and it's also like from internally, like with the courage to do certain things too. Is like once you start, you just gotta like take that leap, and then it starts snowballing, and you gain that like understanding of what you're doing, the confidence in what you're doing. Like, dude, I think I mentioned this in another episode, but like. My first Letters by Lucci video, I was so soft-spoken, so quiet. And now I have no problem speaking in front of like large groups and stuff like that. So It's exactly like you said, like trust the fact that you will get better at what you want to do, and trust the fact that you'll gain that confidence to be better, you know? So, the last couple questions for you. First one, going back to the movie Hustle, I got to know, what was it like seeing yourself in a movie? Like, how cool is it?
Dude, it was pretty wild. So obviously I did the doubling for Juancho and stunt stuff. So I out of courtesy for Juancho, like I'll never share exactly like what I was doing or when I'm in the movie and when I'm not. Just because, like I said, we're like that's up for your own interpretations, and at the end of the day, we're Bo Cruz. So
Yeah, you
that
guys.
was Bo Cruz in there.
Yeah, that was Bo Cruz. It wasn't anybody.
It wasn't us. So, but it was really weird seeing. I was in the movie at times. I was not at all expecting to see myself doing things.
Really?
Yeah, like I did everything. Like whatever I did, Juancho did. Whatever Juancho did, I did. It was like, but we didn't really know it was like going to be kept and what wasn't. And so seeing the movie, I was just like, oh wow, like there I am.
There you are.
But like they're so professional and so good at like what they do that like the average viewer is never going to be able to decipher which is what you want. And but the cool thing also like having that opportunity to share the role with Juancho, but then also them kind of calling me up and giving me the opportunity to be my own role as an injured Greek player was like a huge. I mean, that was like such a cool moment. Like I was like humbled because, like I said, I mean, I was on a set with, Queen Latifah, some of the best actors in the world, and comedians, writers in the world, and our director was amazing, Jeremiah. So being like seeing my actual self as an injured Greek player, like rolling around on the ground as in the beginning of the movie, and Adam comes to scout me, and I do the 360 dunk, and I sprain my ankle. It was funny, just like honestly, the after effects of it, just getting Snapchats from people in their living room or like at the movie theater because it was in select.
Like
too.
it's like that. What's it called? That it's like that GIF of Leonardo DiCaprio where he's like pointing at the TV. He's like, "Hey!"
It was just funny to me, like seeing like random Snapchats pop up to me or DMs, and it would just be like, "Hey, Carber," and it was just me rolling on the floor, like screaming. So it was like, it was just cool, like, and all things I had no idea really. Like they cut the movie in different spurts, so like you don't know what's going to make the final cut. So when we were making the movie, I like really told myself I'm a big like I got to see it before I believe it kind of guy. Like if someone promises something to me, like I'm not going to believe it. And nothing's promised in the movie industry.
Yeah.
But actually seeing it unfold like was super cool. So yeah, it was like my first acting scene, and I'll never forget it. Like it was fun. So
cool. So what's the future have in store? Do you have anything lined up? Just out of curiosity.
yeah. So like one of the main things kind of about my journey that's been kind of stayed consistent is like I kind of have my hand in all different like a lot of different baskets, and I just love kind of where my life is trending as far as entertainment goes. I'll definitely do some more movies, most likely in the future if I'm afforded the opportunities, and more commercials as well if I'm afforded the opportunities. And I think the next steps are just kind of just continuing to explore just like what, like whether it's entertainment or sports, kind of like who I am as an actor or a stunt performer, and just kind of like find my way and just trying to get 1% better each day at whatever I'm pursuing. So I'm definitely going to be pursuing more of like the legitimate acting side of things rather than like the stunt performing. Now that I've got like my feet wet and haven't done my first scene technically.
kind of know what's going
Yeah.
on and stuff like that. Though in the
Yeah, and
set.
I think I'm going to start like dipping my toe into kind of like the music side of things and like content creation too for sports. So like a lot of like sports related media stuff, I would say acting
Mhm.
and then golf, like golf will always be there too.
Yeah.
But long term, like I do want to, one of my big passions is investing and whether it's like stock market or real estate stuff and just
Mhm.
like creating uh, kind of financial freedom for everybody. And I think it could solve a lot of worldly problems. And I think the core root of that is
Mhm.
education. I just think like our education system could do a way better job of helping people learn how to protect their money and put their money to work. And so like
Mhm.
long
Yeah.
term thing, I mean, I'm not announcing my presidency candidate here, but I do like it is something I'm passionate about is just helping others
Hmm.
and yeah, like I said, just trying to educate the world that they can be one percenters too. You don't have to vote for a political party and hold your nose and hope they figure out all the pieces. Like,
Hmm.
I actually think that's the worst thing that you could do is I think it's actually, you got to take it upon yourself and really just learn like knowledge is power. And, the more astute and more of a student you can be, and learning how to create your own future and wealth, I think is like extremely important now more than ever. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the one big lesson that I've taken from minor league ball is just learning how individual everyone is. What even when it like comes to baseball, relating it to life is just like what works for somebody may not work for you.
100.
So there's no point in trying to chase down or try to replicate what certain people are doing that seem like they have it all together, seem like they're doing it right. Do it your own way. Be your own person. Be free. Be like go on your own path. That's what's just. That's what
100.
I'll always
And
say.
like kind of to build off that, like I read something so great the other day. Like, I mean, we've been friends for a long time, and I'm sure you followed me like on social media stories and whatnot. I used to do like a bunch of reading
Hmm.
before COVID. I used to go to the coffee shops and back
Yeah.
to that now, um, but I used to go to coffee shops and read and whatnot. But I read something so great the other day, and it was like, and I fell victim to this as a kid. Like I always wanted to be doing what the cool kids were doing, like trying to emulate someone else with it.
Yeah.
And I like the quote was something along the lines of like everyone's trying to copy one another when they don't realize that everyone has a different question on their card that was given to them. And in a great
Mm.
game of life, you're dealt a card, and it might have a blank space on it. It's for you to figure out what it says, but your
Mm.
purpose and who you're supposed to be is a different goal or a different guideline than what someone else is supposed to do. So, like,
Yeah.
if someone's acting a certain way, don't try and act like them because first of all, you don't look the same as them. You weren't raised the same as them, and you're just not them. And I told my girlfriend this last night. Like, there's not a single person like on this planet that I wish I was so and so. Like, I wish I was LeBron James instead of myself, or like I wish I was whoever. Like whoever it is. Like there's really like if you told me I could jump in someone's body or life or whatever it is, like there's not one person that I would trade that for. I would still be myself and be doing the same things I'm doing right now. Because
Yeah.
and if you do wish you were someone else, then like I think you really gotta like have like a hard
Do some soul
introspective
searching.
moment. Yeah, like you are like the best, like you can find the best version of yourself and you can have what everyone else has and everybody can win. I know everyone can win. It's
I think people don't give themselves enough credit a lot of the time. We live in such a kind of a criticizing world nowadays that some people feel like that they aren't worth what they are worth. Like everybody listening, like you're worth a lot more than you give yourself credit for. Always remember
100%. And everyone has insane potential. It's just really having, like, the hardest part of life is like having the courage to pursue whatever your love or passion is, or like if you want to start a business, like it's just like getting that engine started and finding that motivation to pursue it. So yeah, like that's kind of like my biggest advice I could give there.
Yeah. Never want to go to sleep asking what if.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely, that's like a nightmare for me.
So, Andrew, I want to say thank you so much for being on here with me. If you wouldn't mind, I would love to hear, before like we end, one mantra that you live by.
Absolutely. That's a tough one. I got a bunch of them. I think I kind of said it earlier and alluded to it. I keep like a new phrase or a new kind of thing I'm trying to emulate in my life as my phone background. And I'm on my phone right now, recording through it right now. So I can't show you it, but yeah, just like finding the humor in everything. That's my big thing. I'm trying to kind of continue to live by. And I mean, like I said, I spent 6 months, 3 to 6 months on a movie set with Hustle and fantasy football. And I think being with Sandler and his team, and he's got like a bunch of comedians as writers and stuff like that. Like, I just learned like a ton that, like I said, 99% of what life throws at you, like problem wise, it's probably not going to matter. And just having that perspective to kind of laugh through the adversities could help so many people, like in all aspects too. It could be politically, or like, I truly believe that 99% of the people on this planet want the same things. It's just like peace and prosperity for everyone, and happiness and true love, whatever it is. But like, I think if you find that perspective of just finding the humor in every situation, like, oh, I just blew out my car tire. Like, like you can still find like humor in that. Like, oh, this day's going great. Like,
it's like, I always think about this too, is like, if it's not going to matter tomorrow, there's no reason to worry about it.
Yeah, then you should probably just kind of laugh it off, and find a way to fix it. Like,
exactly.
That's the biggest thing. Just find a way to fix it and move on and find the humor in it. Like, if you don't, you're going to just kind of be miserable and let it unravel into bigger and bigger problems. And it's like, you don't need to do that. So that's, I think, find the humor in everything. That's my biggest kind of mantra at the time right now. So that awesome. I'll leave you on. And yeah, like, I think that can solve a lot of issues.
Absolutely. Well, Andrew, thank you so much. Guys, if you haven't yet, go check out Hustle on Netflix, and go check out Fantasy Football, which is on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon.
Go check.
Again, thank you so much for being on here. You're a great friend. We've been friends for a long time, and I know that we're going to keep that going in the future. So, absolutely. Like I said, man, best of luck with everything you're doing, and I'm insanely proud of you.
Likewise, man. And good luck this season as well. The season's coming up here faster than we know it. So,
yes, sir.
Spring training, and dude, just keep doing what you're doing, and things will pan out. I'm telling you, big things are coming. Fireball lefty.
Appreciate you always, brother. And for those listening, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.